The stunning walled city of Carcassonne in the southwest of France hosted the start of stage 14, with the Tour moving on into the Pyrenees. A couple of non-starters to tell you about. Søren Kragh Andersen unable to take his bike. Warren Barguil neither after crashes the day before. 183.7 kilometres for this stage. Plenty of categorised climbing to be done. Up and down all day. A real stage for the attackers on paper. And it was on the way to a first ever stage finish in Quillon. Things took a long time to settle down. A first group of 5 riders managed to get up the road. Squinch, Rickert, Sbaragli, Turgis and Chevalier were there. But it took over 100 kilometres for things to take any sort of shape. Right up until the intermediate sprint, things were battled out, and that first group of 5 would come back together. It was once the bunch began climbing that things began to separate again. Pools, Woods and Catania away. And the fight for the polka dot jersey was also on, with Nairo Quintana having missed the move. Behind, another group of riders was coming across, and this would be the foundation of the day's breakaway. 14 riders getting up the road eventually, and a gap of up to 5 and 6 minutes at times opening up. At this point it was a 3-minute gap, but it looked as though the break was going to have its chance to take the stage. Pools again beating Woods over the top of another King of the Mountain summit, and then Woods beaten by the corner. Down on the ground, but thankfully for the race, not out. He'd chase back on, take a few kilometres to do so, but not before Bauke Mollema went off the front. Attacking on a descent, quickly picking up half a minute of an advantage, but with one very difficult categorised climb to come. There was also another factor at play, because Guillaume Martin had been moving up in the general classification. He was about to take 5 minutes back and move up above Rigoberto Urán into second place. EF Education Nippo put their riders to the front, but as soon as Mollema went over the top, it looked as though the stage was going to belong to him. Inside the 5 final kilometres, Martin seemingly on his way up the GC. Mollema knew he was on his way to a second Tour de France stage victory. 4 years after his first at Le Puy-en-Velay in the Massif Central, Bauke Mollema victorious in the Pyrenees. 3 years since Trek Segafredo's last Tour win, from John Degenkolb in Roubaix to Bauke Mollema in Quillon. A superb win, and over a minute of a gap taken out by the Flying Dutchman. The second place will be fought out between Comrade and Higuita, and behind Guillaume Martin coming in and waiting for the clock to tick. All the glory on the day going to Bauke Mollema, a brilliant victory. Trek Segafredo had looked for this since the start of the Tour. Finally on day 14 they had their reward. 2 weeks after the start, Mollema taking the victory. The yellow jersey coming in at almost 7 minutes, and that meaning that the GC would change in so much that, well, Pogačar kept his yellow jersey, but Guillaume Martin would rise up into second. 4 minutes 4 seconds the gap between Pogačar and Martin. Urán in third, Vingegaard down to fourth, and Catania's ride also just about taking him into the top 10. The new King of the Mountains would be Michael Woods. A narrow 4-point lead over Nairo Quintana, Wout Poels 5 behind, with Van Aert and Mollema in 4th and 5th. So what's next? Well, the last day before the second rest day, and heading deep into the Pyrenees, in fact right up into its microstate, Andorra. The Tour de France leaving France and heading to the Andorran capital, Andorra la Vella. Some big climbs, 191 kilometres, and a real mountain stage. The highest point of the Tour, it's on its way. Who's going to be at the top of the timesheets? Will it still be Pogačar, or can anybody challenge him? Tune in to find out on GCN and Eurosport.